Yes, ma'am. I want to ask you.
Okay, just before starting this, the next part, that is digestion in the small intestine, I'll ask the portion which we covered in the previous class. Raise your hand and tell me what is means the digestion in the mouth. Explain the digestion in the mouth. Three hands only. Amina. Amna, yes. Yes, Amna.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me digestion in the mouth. Digestion in the mouth.
Yes, ma'am.
Digestion in mouth.
Then in the digestion in the mouth, ma'am, what's happened? The food that we eat, ma'am, that gets secreted in the salivary glands by the help of saliva. Then that food breaks down in the form of the starch, which is present in the smaller molecules of the sugar. Then after chewing the food, with the help of saliva, the semi solid mass of food that is known as bolus, that is formed. Then the food is swallowed.
Okay.
Okay.
Farhan Ayatullah. Farhan Ayatullah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you also tell me.
Saliva secreted by the salivary glands in mouth contains an enzyme called salivary amylase. It breaks down the starch present into
Wait,
smaller
Farhan.
molecules.
Amylase. Salivary amylase. Say again.
Salivary amylase.
Salivary amylase.
It breaks down the starch present into smaller molecules of sugar after through chewing and mixing with saliva. A semi-solid mass of food called bolus.
After thorough chewing.
This is then swallowed.
So after when the food mixed with the salivary amylase or saliva, then the semi-solid food that just about to be swallowed, that is known as bolus. Yes. Okay. Just raise your hand for the question that answer that explain the digestion in the stomach. 4-5 hand only. Yes, Isma, you tell me.
Ma'am, in stomach, the semi-digested food that are from mouth is pushed into the stomach through our esophagus, and then it is aided by a process called peristalsis.
Peristalsis, yes. Yes, peristalsis.
And then it is waved by the coordinated muscular contractions that occur in the length of our alimentary canal, and walls of the stomach secrete from the gastric juices containing hydrochloric acid along with enzymes pepsin and renin.
Okay. Yes.
Like when we are eating any food, then like some elements like enzymes, pepsin, and these all help. They create an acid which helps to digest our food in our stomach and kills the bacteria that enter along with food. And pepsin breaks down complex proteins into smaller protein molecules called the proteoses.
Proteoses.
Yes, ma'am. Proteoses and peptones.
Peptones, yes.
And then renin acts on milk protein and curdles it in the stomach of infants. Like when we are eating curd, so it Renin acts on milk protein and curdles it in the stomach of infant, and stomach muscles churn the bolus with gastric juices to form a pulpy fluid called
yes,
which is called
chyme. CHYM, chyme. The food after the partial digestion in the stomach, it is called chyme, means the paste or the pulpy paste, it is called chyme. And the food which is mixed with the saliva,
a pulpy fluid called chyme, which is passes through the
in the mouth, it is called bolus. So there it is called bolus, and in stomach it is called chyme.
When we take a food in our saliva, that is secreted by salivary glands, and then when it breaks down, when you chew it, and the semi-solid mass of food is called bolus.
When we chew it, when the food is broken down mechanically, this chewing is actually called mechanical broken down of the food. And this chemical breakdown, when the bonds of the chemicals breaks, means like I told you that the carbohydrate is a it means a chain of glucose molecule. In the same way, protein is the chain of amino acids. So means when this long chain break down into the smaller one, then it is called chemical breakdown. And when the big pieces changes into the smaller, this chemically not breakdown, just bigger pieces become smaller, that is called mechanical breakdown. Like if we break the brick with the hammer, this is like we make the brick into the smaller pieces, this is called mechanical breakdown. In the same way, when we chew food in mouth with the help of teeth, this is called mechanical breakdown. But along with that, when it mixes with saliva and salivary amylase work on the carbohydrate and it break down, then at the same time we can say chemical breakdown also occur in the mouth because of the salivary amylase, because it breaks the carbohydrate into the simpler or the smaller molecules.
Ma'am, what is acidic one having a pH less than 7? What is pH?
Is actually the concentration of hydrogen ion. So here like acids are having the less pH, and the means the basics are having the more pH, like 0 to 1 2 3 they are the acids, means the acids are having the less pH, and basics are having the more pH 7 8, and the neutral is water, it's 7 around, means the water is neutral, is not acidic nor basic, nor basic, its pH is 7. And then if it is increased, then it become basic, 8 9 10, then it is basic, and below the 7 is like 5 6, even they just acidic started. So less pH, then the 7 is the acids, and the more than 7 they are the basics. So now okay, so here in stomach, what happened? That protein अपने ही नाम के आगे मेरा नाम लिख दो. Okay. घर पे कौन कौन रहता है अपना? कोई protein in presence of pepsin. So here in stomach, in presence of pepsin, protein convert into proteosis. This is proteosis. proteoses plus peptone. So one, this is occur in the stomach, and another is milk protein in presence of renin convert into casein, curdled milk. So here in stomach, protein converted into proteoses and peptone, and milk protein curdled means the milk protein which is there in the milk that converted into casein, 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 and that's because of renin. So renin convert milk protein into casein. Yes, why these four hands are raised? Yes, Faizan, what do you want to know? Faizan,
Ma'am,
what do you want to say?
ma'am, I want to say, ma'am, that ma'am in a project, my project
Again,
it was
project.
there, ma'am.
I say,
Observing, ma'am, that
listen.
registration, ma'am. Where I have to make this topic, ma'am. We can make this topic on chart.
What I said that time, whatever the query regarding your project, send on my personal account. I will answer you personally. Don't ask here, already my period today 15 to 20 minutes you have taken for this only. And rest sometime this Nadia. What is the use of this keyboard and all if it is not working? What's the use of something you are writing and teaching me here, or you just have to see and listen only? So you people have taken too much time today. So now whatever the query regarding the project, you just ask on my personal account. I will answer there. Yes, Isma, what do you want to know? Don't ask related to the project, that you ask on my personal number. Yes, Isma, want to say something? Isma,
Ma'am, I want to ask that we have to do it individual or group.
what I say related to project, ask me on personal account. Now, digestion in the small intestine. This was the topic today to teach you, and half an hour is gone like this only, just like sometime Nadia took to spoil the class and rest time you took for the queries and all. Now let me start today's topic, that is digestion in the small intestine. So in stomach, I told you the food is broken down mechanically, and there the chemical breakdown also occur because of the salivary amylase action. So salivary amylase convert carbohydrate into maltose. Maltose, it is disaccharide. It means disaccharide. Here the two molecules are there. When carbohydrate is polymer of the sugar or the glucose, means the many molecule of glucose makes carbohydrate. So here in mouth, what it break down into disaccharide, means two molecule chain is left, means is what you can say, the big chain converted into the small chain, or the big molecule convert into the small one. So here the chemical breakdown also occur, and then stomach also, due to the gastric juice and the churning effect of the muscles of the stomach, there the food is mixed with the gastric juices. Gastric juice is having the hydrochloric acid as well as the pepsin and renin. There the food is partially digested. In the stomach, food is partially digested, means half of the digestion occur in the stomach. Now half is left. This partially digested food, which is in the form of pulpy fluid, that is moved to the small intestine. Now in a small intestine, what happens, this digested soupy slime reaches the first part of the small intestine. What is that first part of the small intestine? Raise your hand quickly. First part of the small intestine. Raise your hand quickly. One hand only. What about other? Sara Khan. Sara, first part of the small intestine. Sara Khan. Yes, Sara.
Yes, ma'am.
What is? Tell me the first part of the small intestine.
Ma'am, duodenum.
Duodenum. You were. So, Sarah, you were so active in offline classes when the offline classes were there. Now you're not raising your hand. What happened to you? Hmm? You are a very good student. Now you are not taking part in class. Even you are not raising your hand. Be active in class and be regular also. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Duodenum. Yes. The first part of the small intestine is duodenum. So duodenum receives this pulpy fluid that is called chyme, means the food which moves to the small intestine, that is we call chyme, chyme, chyme. Here in small intestine, which is the first part of the small intestine, that is duodenum. What happened here? It receives bile juice also. Bile juice from where? Liver release. And where it is stored? It is stored in gallbladder. Yes. So in small intestine, specifically in duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, here the food reaches, that is chyme, and it receives bile juice from the gallbladder. But remember, gallbladder is just a storing organ. Bile juice is released by the liver only. Here, from the gallbladder, it receives bile juice, and it receives pancreatic juice also from the pancreas. So, here in duodenum, two chemicals or the enzymes are also what you can say join with this food, means they just get the food as well as the food gets to chemical to make it, we can say that mechanically as well as the chemically. Why mechanically? Though bile juice is a chemical, but its function is to break down mechanically. Bile juice function is not to break down fat into chemically. It's not means it's not digesting the fat. It just break down the big molecules into the tiny droplets of fat. So here bile juice and the pancreatic juice from the pancreas, bile juice from the gallbladder. So it received by the duodenum. So after that, what happened? Whatever the fat is there in that chyme, that emulsified, means the breakdown of big globules of fat into the tiny droplets of fat is called emulsification. What it is called? Emulsification. This process called emulsification. Here this fat in presence of bile juice convert into the means the big fat globule convert into the tiny droplets of fat, and this process is known as emulsification. So what it is known as? Emulsification. Why this is not working? Anyway, so this is called emulsification. This term is not there in your book, I think so. So you note down. After that, what happened when this fat, the big globules, the big molecules, that is converted into the smaller one. Then the action of the pancreatic juice, means like the pancreas releases the pancreatic juice in the duodenum. Now what effect of the pancreatic juice will be, that like that effect on that, or that chemically break down what the things, protein, fats, and carbohydrate also. So this the juice which is comes from the pancreas, that chemically digest, that chemically break down carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So this pancreatic juice break down carbohydrate, protein, and fats. Means how many components are there in the fat? 5: carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamin, and mineral. So here these three are means like digested or chemically break down with the effect of pancreatic juice. And in pancreatic juice is having some different enzymes which can convert carbohydrate, protein, and fats into the simpler form. This pancreatic amylase convert carbohydrate convert into the maltose and other sugar. And on the other hand, trypsin is also present in the pancreatic juice, that convert protein and peptones into peptides. I told you then in stomach that protein converted into proteoses and peptones. So here, if some of the protein is still left to be converted into the smaller or the simpler form, so then protein plus peptone and proteoses, they converted into peptide. Peptide is the simpler form. The means like the chemically the protein converted into the simpler form. So with the effect of trypsin which is there in the pancreatic juice, convert into peptides. So after pancreatic juice, what happened? Carbohydrate convert into maltose, protein and peptones they converted into peptides, and emulsified fats. Emulsified fat means with the effect of bile juice, the big globule converted into the tiny droplets of fat. That tiny droplet of fat, that very small droplet of fat, now it mixes with the lipase. Lipase is there in the pancreatic juice. So in pancreatic juice, what is there? Pancreatic amylase, trypsin, and lipase. So when the emulsified fat mixed with the lipase, what happened? It convert fat into the simpler form. What is that? Fatty acids plus glycerol. So with the fact of the pancreatic juice, what happened? The carbohydrate, protein, and fats they digested, they converted into the simpler form. Now from the duodenum, the chyme passes into the jejunum and then into the ileum. Second part of the small intestine is jejunum, where no digestion occur. So three parts of the small intestine are there: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. In duodenum, it receives pancreatic juice and the bile juice, and in jejunum, it not receive any enzyme, so no digestion occur. It's just a passage. Between the duodenum and the ileum. So here in jejunum no digestion occur, and from the jejunum the food reaches into the ileum. Ileum is the third part of the small intestine. Ileum is the third part of the small intestine. I told you small intestine categorized into three parts. So the last part of the small intestine is ileum. Now here cell lining the ileum secrete an intestinal juice. Now what the specific thing of this third part of the small intestine is that here, because in duodenum the wall of the duodenum not secrete any enzyme, but it receive, the duodenum receive from the pancreas and the gallbladder, it not secrete. But ileum it secrete the inner wall or the inner cell of the ileum. They secrete juice or enzyme that is called intestinal juice. What it is called? Intestinal juice. So this intestinal juice is secreted by the inner cell of the ileum. In ileum is the last part of the small intestine, and it contains number of enzymes. These enzymes are iriopsin, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. So here in small intestine's last part, that is ileum, the wall of the ileum is secrete iriopsin, maltase, and sucrase and lactase. So these are the enzymes which are secreted in the small intestine, means ileum. Duodenum it receives pancreatic juice on the bile juice, and ileum it release the inner wall of the ileum. So this is the difference between the duodenum and ileum. The duodenum that it receives the enzymes, but the ileum it secrete. Are you getting it? Ileum secrete and duodenum receive. This is the difference between the two part of small intestine. So here this is it secrete intestinal juice, and that contain iriopsin, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. So iriopsin convert the peptide into amino acids. Maltase convert maltose into glucose, and in the same way sucrase convert into sucrose into the simpler form. Lactase convert into lactose into the simpler glucose. Lactose is the milk, what you can say, sugar. Milk protein, milk sugar is the lactose, and lactase convert into the simpler glucose or simpler sugar that can be absorbed by the body. So the final absorption occur there in the small intestine last part, that is ileum. Got it? So here in the last part of the small intestine the digestion is completed. So I will start the same, means this digestion in the small intestine, because some of the part is still left in the next class, and means I will continue with it only.